The darkness fades slowly and the colorful sight welcomes the boy into another world of wonders, assuring his life. The baffled boy named Kelvin's confusion is cleared by an unknown voice as a menu pops in front of him, showing him his stats as an S-rank summoner in exchange for his memories of past life. Kelvin panics in embarrassment as the voice tells itself to be the goddess of reincarnation, Melfina, to whom he has confessed his love for more than an hour continuously. Thanks to Kelvin's concealment ability that enables him to hide his real stats and register himself as the lowest F-rank adventurer. The first assigned task seems to be pretty easy to catch the blue slimes, but it proves to be just a credulity. The slippery slimes give him a hard time, but he finally manages to turn a slime into his pet by the binding contract and names it Clotho. Clotho proves to be a very useful companion. The duo fight against other slimes, with Clotho being allowed to absorb the defeated ones. A really strange thing about the new world is slavery, which is quite common. Kelvin sees an elf in the cage as he passes by the market on his way back to the inn. Kelvin gets himself room and finally the first meal after a full day of hard work. The remarkable ranking progress attracts many other daredevils to team up with him, including Cashel, a D-rank adventurer, but their meeting doesn't end well as Kelvin turns down his proposal due to Cashel being involved in the murders of the new members joining the guild. Continuing his track record, Cashel conspires with his allies, Gimel and Raj, to kill Kelvin as well. To their surprise, all the beasts in the ruined castle have already been wiped out by none other than Kelvin alone, who is waiting there to welcome them in the way the rascals deserve. Raj falls for Kelvin's trap that he has been hiding via his concealment ability, and frightened Gimel by the wind magic he casts is chased by gigantic Clotho back to the hall. Cashel has no chance against the legendary S-ranked adventurer. After clearing the mess, Kelvin meets the boss of the castle, Gerard, a ghost knight who used to be human before his death. Unexpectedly, Gerard possesses a kind nature, but he fights against Kelvin to test his abilities on Kelvin's offer to be his subordinate. He stops all attacks of Clotho and even breaks Kelvin's binding spell with energy from the overwhelming feelings of losing his family at the hands of an elf Gildora in his previous life. Kelvin binds him again and Clotho's beam attack ends the battle, winning another subordinate in the team. The adventurer proves his victory by supplying a piece of Gerard's armor, resulting in promotion to D rank. An interesting personality, the guild master Leo, calls for the emerging talent of the guild, Kelvin. Leo's stronger appraisal ability knows the actual stats and the relation of Kelvin with the other world. Upon Kelvin's confrontation of not taking any action against Cashel despite knowing everything by such an incredible appraisal ability, he explains the reason is not having solid proof. He tells about the heroes of Dramus City who are also summoned from the other world by Melfina as a safety measure to deal with demons being stronger under the influence of their lord. Leo offers a deal to Kelvin, whose progress has surpassed the heroes in days, to save the town in exchange for increasing his rank and assistance in his missions. Innkeeper Claire briefs Kelvin about the summoning of heroes by the priestess based on their knowledge and looks a year back. On his walk to the market, Kelvin finds the captured elf, Eiffel, interesting and buys her despite knowing that everyone who touches her gets a fire on him. The sacred spell cast by Kelvin releases the elf, Eiffel, from her curse and she becomes emotional on finally being able to touch someone for the first time. Claire dresses up the young girl properly, and now Kelvin introduces her to Melfina and his secret subordinates Clotho and Gerard. Guild manager Angie gives a warm welcome to Eiffel, and within no time the two girls get along with each other. The group decides to try out the new cafe. A commotion is created at the cafe as a result of the interruption of the third prince, Tabura, with his two guards who have an eye on the girls. Kelvin knocks down the guards and puts the proud prince in his place by restricting his movements. Tabura has come to the cafe to recruit Kelvin, but unluckily the person he gets mad at is the individual he has come for. Meanwhile, Melfina visits the temple as a light spirit and gives Colette orders for the heroes to deal with the evil shown in the west. Their slow refinement disappoints Melfina and Kelvin. Another call from Leo to see him interrupts the discussion. Leo informs Kelvin of a sealed demon discovered in the secret room dungeon and asks him to deal with it. Team Kelvin reaches the secret room via an underground mine where they find a second demon, Victor, who has been the caretaker of the sealed demon girl. The girl is supposed to be a potential heir to the demon throne, being the daughter of a recently defeated demon king. Victor plans to attain the ability to release the girl, Sierra, by eating Kelvin. He attacks them and can block Gerard along with Kelvin's spell. Kelvin is excited to meet such an impressive adversary. The summoned skeletons by Victor stand no chance against the excellence of Team Kelvin. He creates black smoke, but Kelvin can sense his magic aura. Upon summoning Clotho, he attaches to Victor's arm while Kelvin casts the binding spell on him. Eiffel's fire arrow results in Victor sacrificing his one arm, and at that moment Gerard's upgraded sword slashes down the other. The injured situation compels him to transform into a more lethal form, knocking down Gerard without sweating. The teamwork of Eiffel, Clotho, and Kelvin finally brings them the fruit of victory and ends up with Victor devastated as the result of their final attack. At the last drop of his energy, he still saves Sierra from a falling stone, showing his affection for the girl. Kelvin breaks down the seal, fulfilling the dying request of Victor. She disguises herself as a human with the help of her magic hairpin, which makes it easy for Kelvin to report his success as Victor's death, and pretends Sierra to be a victim of the demon. Sierra visits the town for the very first time and, of course, is amazed by everything. Kelvin has again won the promotion. The town members throw a surprise party to congratulate him on achieving such a milestone. Sierra gets the new gauntlets crafted from Victor's carapace, and Gerard gets a new sword from the craftsmanship of Kelvin and Eiffel. The biggest disappointment our protagonist can have in the new world is not having rice as a daily feed. The cravings lead them to head toward the coastal city of Torridge, which is supposed to have rice. Melfina is absent as she has only the option to possess one of her subordinates to meet them in the physical world, as Kelvin is still unable to summon her. The group is stopped by bandits, which are only about 30 to 70 rank. Sierra easily takes them down and ties them up without using her gauntlets. The bandit leader provides information about their group Black Storm and their leader Christopher, who is involved in kidnapping but is known only as champion of Trice and Horn. The amazing experience of the ocean leaves Sierra mesmerized. The group goes to see the guild leader of Torridge, Mist, who knows everything about Kelvin because of Leo. Kelvin asks Mist to assign the task of bandits to heroes and leaves for the bandits before them. Team Kelvin helps the captured women and sets them free while defeating the bandits without wasting time. The heroes approach the women and a little girl prevents them from attacking Clotho, which is left for their safety. She urges them to help the adventurer against the bandits. The heroes find Christopher and his lieutenants and misunderstand them as adventurers. Team Kelvin pretends to be the leader of the Black Storm. Squad Heroes comprises 4 members, namely Tauya, Setsuna, Mizuka, and Miyabi. To assess their abilities, Kelvin asks them all to attack him at once. Heroes summon the spirits to enhance their powers. The direct battle with Setsuna and Tauya results in an explosion, but Kelvin is unbothered by that. He steals Miyabi's skills. Tauya is easily overpowered by Kelvin, and Setsuna's aid is also unable to create a noticeable impact. Kelvin creates a giant wall that is slashed by a single blow from Setsuna. Mizuka creates an ice wall while Miyabi casts gravity force, and Setsuna along with Tauya charges at Kelvin simultaneously. Kelvin's counter strategy of detonation power causes a huge explosion. He gives them tips to improve their fighting and provokes enraged Tauya to use his special ability of double daggers. Mizuka casts a frozen temple binding Kelvin while Miyabi summons her minion the Grave. Upon Miyabi's blast of dark energy, Kelvin summons Golem to absorb the attack. He creates a new spell in just 30 seconds with the use of parallel processing, and releases himself. Is punched to Setsuna, an aggressive attack on Miyabi, and Mizuka knock them down. It takes only a single blow to make Tauya out of the battle. Tauya comes back to his senses and realizes the reality of Kelvin being the adventurer. He submits himself to such an incredible master. The improvised heroes need training, and Kelvin has taken this matter into his hands. He makes them face a sea octopus whose soft and slippery nature makes it resistant to attack by sharp-edged weapons. Disappointed, Kelvin starts instructing the team and they finally defeat the creature. This situation confirms that they are not on par with the dungeon boss. The urge to train hard and improve themselves puts a smile on Kelvin's face. Meanwhile, Sierra has fished up the dungeon boss and now Kelvin has to deal with it. There comes the time of departure and heroes leave for the western continent on their ship. A pendant gift is the reward they get from their master. Kelvin remembers Gerard's enemies who live on the western continent and asks him if the heroes would be able to avenge his family. Gerard is touched by his concern for his feelings and past life. Team Kelvin is summoned by the Queen of Torridge, who is thankful to them for resolving the issue of the bandits. Amused by Kelvin's wish for rice, she grants him a lifetime supply. After a few days, the Queen joins him on a meal and asks him to either give her Eiffel for her incredible cooking skills or to live in the castle with her. This proposal gives Kelvin the alert signs, and he decides not to live in Torridge anymore while declining both offers respectfully. The Queen allows them to use the teleportation gate. Back in the city, Kelvin buys the house for his companions. The S-ranked summoner is finally able to summon the goddess of reincarnation in her physical state, and at the moment he faces mixed feelings about achieving a milestone while being confused and embarrassed about what Melfina told him about his previous love life. There is an introduction session of Melfina with the other members of the team at the breakfast table where she embarrasses Kelvin by mentioning herself as his wife. After some chat, Melfina blesses Kelvin with two things. The first one is to be immune to one lethal attack every month, and the second interesting one is to be able to summon the heroes from the other world. Kelvin is perplexed about calling someone from his world and putting the title of warrior on him without even taking consent. It seems to be unjust. The rivalry among the girls for the same love interest turns into a clash of demonic claw and divine spear. Gerard and Yuki are the spectators of the fight, which ends up without any conclusion as both the opponents match their powers. To clear Kelvin's thoughts, Melfina explains the need for heroes from the other world as the only resort for facing the effects of the demon waves of the Demon King, which makes all the demons more and more evil inside and invincible to any attack of this world. There are two ways to summon heroes. One is to teleport the alive and the other is reincarnating the dead one. So if he thinks it unfair to teleport someone and disturb their lions without permission, then he should reincarnate the hero. Kelvin uses his 99% MP to summon a powerful hero, but to everyone's surprise, the reincarnated one is a child girl named Leonsiki. She was a terminally ill patient in her previous life and shows her gratitude to Kelvin for providing her the opportunity to live the life she had wished for. Kelvin changes her name to Rion as the former one resembles that disgusting Leo. They pretend Rion to be the younger sister of Kelvin. The crew along with their maids reach the dungeon woods where they are supposed to level up their skills by killing the monsters. Sierra, Gerard, and Clotho compete to eliminate more monsters, and their skill points are distributed to everyone including Ellie and Yuka through experience sharing skills of Kelvin. Eiffel sees through the distance and informs Ulad and his team members approaching them. They have also entered the dungeon to improve their levels, but all the monsters are already wiped out by Team Kelvin. Kelvin apologizes to them for the inconvenience. Everyone has quite a relaxing time in the town. Rion and Clotho get the wolf bath and name it Alex. In the night, 14 ranked fighters surround the house planning to kill the warrior who helped her to defeat Christopher. The leader of the bandits belonged to the territory of Trison, and now these attackers also have the motive of working for the glory of Trison. Kelvin asks Rion to deal with the adversaries to analyze the capabilities of Alex and Rion and their teamwork. Despite being a trainee, Rion's skill is impressive. The rest of the bandits and the leader are taken care of by Kelvin and Sierra. In Trison, King Jader is having a round-table conference with his committee of generals. Although they have cleared their motive about Christopher, the people of the other three states are still not happy with them. General Tristan and Prince Asgard vote for a war considering the other three nations weaker, while General Dan and Princess Sh do not consider it the right time. He is not liked by everyone. The party moves to the Forest of Heraldry as per the instructions of King Leonhard of Gaum to protect the elf village from an unknown S-ranked beast. This task is considered an S-rank test of Kelvin, which requires permission from a ruler. In Kelvin's case, the ruler is Leonhard. Leo discusses the political stance of Trison after the bandit issue, and the blunt movements by the army at the border which indicate an upcoming war. The elves at first stop the adventurers, but upon showing the letter they allow them to enter. The elf leader Neelas considers Eiffel as his daughter Lumiel due to her striking resemblance. Lumiel was the courageous elf who sacrificed herself and accepted the demand of the Dragon King to be his bride in exchange for letting other elves go and not harming them. After a few years, her dead body was found deep in the woods. There are chances of Lumiel being the mother of Eiffel, but the Dragon King cannot be her father as she is a half-elf. The attack of monsters on the village is too organized for beasts alone and aims to kidnap the villagers. Kelvin creates a trap for the attackers as he suspects them to be from Trison. His arrow tower gives them an accurate position of attack, while Melfina's green fog covers the village from the outside. The team easily defeats Trison's soldiers. A twist in the battle appears as the commander awakens an S-ranked giant beast, but to his surprise, the little girl Rion is sent to defeat him. At first, Rion gets overwhelmed, but her counterattack with Alex by using their combined skill of Thunder Strike knocks down the beast even in his dangerous transformed level. A sudden sneak attack draws attention to the newcomer, General Clive, with his subordinates. Clive has his filthy eyes on Eiffel, which enrages Kelvin. He sends Eiffel down to the forest and attacks the rascal with swirling swords. Clive blocks the attack with his Helix shield. As his lady subordinates attack Kelvin, he realizes that Clive has controlled all of them under a seduction spell. Kelvin instructs his golems to fight the warriors, but not to kill them, as he plans to release them from the magic. An immense battle between the two starts, casting spell rays over each other in a high-speed chase. The clash of shield and dark staff results in an explosion, leaving a mark on Clive's face, turning him madly furious. He casts the S-rank magic equal to a natural disaster, creating a cyclone. The hazardous attack is countered by the power of the Black Staff of Disaster. As the dust fades and the scene clears, the outcome appears as Kelvin being safe while Clive's legs are slashed brutally. Before the last stroke, Clive is timely saved by Tristan, the general of the Chimera army, but who knows that this save has even worse things for Clive to experience. Tristan experiments with his 1345 weapons on the healed body of Clive and does not even let him die. The villagers prepare a banquet for the savior of the day. Melfina, Sierra, and Rion have a marathon to see who will reach Kelvin first, and surprisingly Rion surpasses the ladies at the last moment. It's time to celebrate the triumph.